going on, everybody? Welcome back. John's back. It's been a minute. I haven't seen you since last year, but welcome back to another episode of the ThoseMovieDudes podcast. Here to talk about some movies, talk about some Sundance, talk about some Oscars, maybe a few new releases along the way. If you want to check us out, that's, of course, at ThoseMovieDudes on Instagram, TikTok, all those places. Check us out on those various podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you are watching us on YouTube, we really appreciate it. Check us out on there if you haven't already. But let's bring in my fellow dudes here. We got Lil Debbie and we got Lil Ducky. Welcome in. Welcome in. Come on, guys. And a hot minute. Been a hot minute. So we talk about little movies, all three of us here.
It has been a hot minute. And also, we're back to not do anything that our podcast is known for.
We're not actually doing anything on the show for the most part.
We have no new releases to talk about. We have no first-time watches. We have no mainstream board trivia.
Welcome to the dumping ground of the year right here.
Yeah,
early February.
A great start to the 2024 podcast year, but we'll make it work. We'll have a quicker, shorter episode, but we'll still talk about some movies, talk about some current things going on in the film world.
Like the quicker, picker-upper episode. This is like we're sponsored by Bounty, not a sponsor.
Right. And we hardly talk anyway, so we just use this podcast as a way to still communicate. So,
good point. But we're men. We're 28-year-old men, and you know what? You don't need to talk every day to still be friends. We could go a year without speaking, and I would just call him and be like, "Hey," he'd be like, "What's up?" I'd be like, "Oh, nothing."
Like your tie.
Yeah, if I didn't talk to you guys, this whole video would just be a rope hanging in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know what?
My feet dangling, Jojo Rabbit style. Just.
I do. Nate was here, and it's carved into the fucking banister of your ceiling.
It's like the Wizard of Oz, like Munchkin myth. I'm just like swinging in the background.
Yeah. What's that movie? Harold and Maude. That one was.
When he just keeps on trying to kill himself. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That movie,
Harold and Maude.
What a film! What a film! And then they had like a sexual encounter. No. Whoever hit that, no. What was that? No. Thank you.
All right.
Throw it in the oven.
I think it's time to get started here, Ducky. Why don't you take it away with a little bit of... Do you have a question for us today? Like, do we at least have that on deck or no?
If I had the Ducky Asks a Question theme song loaded up, I'd be a bit more prepared, but I don't have that.
His name's Ducky. He asks questions
I guess
at the beginning of the
podcast. Guys.
That was pretty good. Clip that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to clip that and post it on our socials. Make sure you follow us at ThoseMovieDudes.
Yep.
Everywhere.
One view.
I'm here.
Exactly.
One view. It's my mom.
All right. So my impromptu question for you guys is a question I've been meaning to ask you guys. I think I was going to ask it on the last podcast, but just ran out of time. It's a 2-hour crazy episode where we talk about our favorite movies of 2023. So go and check that one out. But my question for you guys going into this year, 2024, take the year out of the answer. 2024, just disregard that because obviously we have our own challenges when it comes to 2024 releases and how many we can watch each year. But what is a challenge going into this year, a film challenge that you guys would like to partake in or just challenge yourself in? It could be like knocking out more Best Picture winners. It could be watching a genre that you don't typically watch, trying to watch like 10 in that genre, or I don't know. It could be a director on the spot.
It's a very seemingly obtainable challenge, just considering that we're big physical media guys, right? As you can see behind me, you can see a lot of my films sitting behind me. And sadly, a lot of the time, I think that all of us can relate. When we buy them, they sit in the plastic and collect dust for the most part. Maybe not for Nate, but for me, that is
I gotta give him at least a couple watches.
I buy them and they sit there in the cellophane and the slipcover, and I don't watch them. And there's a lot of them that I upgraded my theater setup. I need to watch at least like 15 like 4K Blu-rays that I've bought and just appreciate them in my home theater setup. That's what I need to do. Dunkirk, Tenet, rewatch Interstellar. I need to watch Oppenheimer again, like stuff like that,
Okay, so you're going to challenge yourself to watch more of your physical media that's on your shelf.
Yeah.
just to rewatch.
Mr. Popper's Penguins, all the good
What's a
stuff.
number? You got to give me a number.
15.
I want to check back in at the end of the year. 15. I think you could hit that just in the first couple of months of podcast episodes.
Here's the thing, 15, and then we'll revisit. I'll be like, all right, 20.
Okay, fine.
5 more. It's like March 7th.
You can start with 15. I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I definitely wait until the right moment to watch these movies. I typically, if I haven't seen the movie and I own it, I'll try to wait until the first time watching the podcast or something, just so I don't have more space going into it. But yeah, I mean, there's kind of an embarrassing amount of movies that I have bought that I just have never watched. I've seen them before, just haven't watched that physical copy that I bought. That is just
you guys are working boys, hard working. It's hard to sit down and just pop on a movie.
All right, so 15 physical media Blu-rays from you, John. That's your.
I was going to say 10, but I feel like I wouldn't have been trying.
20, but I mean, I don't want to.
I should. So we're going to go with 15.
All right.
When you're 15.
So Nate, what is a challenge that you would like? A challenge that you would like to give yourself going into this year? It could be anything film related.
This is a big one. This is a big one.
It's an ambitious challenge that you're going to give yourself.
This is going to be a very difficult challenge as well.
Well, if anyone can do it, I think it's you. So let's hear it.
I want to complete my Best Picture winner overall have seen.
Okay,
that's what I want to do.
I know you're.
I'm at least. I would say I'm like 60% through.
Okay.
I have my pulled up. I'm 47%. I've seen 45 out of 95.
I'm probably nowhere near that.
I gotta look at mine because I think I'm at like. I'd say I'm at like 60 something.
You've seen way more of like the kind of mid 20s to 50s than because that's kind of like my blind spot.
It's mine too, actually. Like anything from like the 70s up, I'm good, but it's everything before that. Like there's some outliers too. I don't have it on me right now, but yeah, I want to complete that. There's some really obscure ones, and there's probably some that I'm not even going to be able to find. So I might have to shed out some money to do some free trials on some really obscure streaming services to watch these.
Yeah, I mean, Criterion Channel's kind of been that like kind of saving grace, and even Max, when they got more of Warner Brothers like library, they started to kind of release some older movies that have never even hit streaming before. So maybe those.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple decades that like I'm almost complete with. Like the 70s, I just have to watch The Sting, and I've just passed on it a couple of times already.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to say I'm 60-70% done, and there's a lot of stinkers I've heard, so it might be kind of a drag going through some of them, like Cavalcade and the Emile Zola movie that came out in like the 30s. It's just.
I have 66 movies on here that I have not seen. I just counted them. There's a few that I
would imagine you probably have like maybe 40, maybe 50, between 40 and 50, maybe.
I want to say I'm closer to 60 because there's a lot in the 30s that I've watched.
Okay.
Like Wings and Sunrise, we watched that in school.
Right. Yep. Okay.
I had a list originally,
but
I don't think I've updated it recently.
Well, we've lost a month, so we're 1 month behind. So this challenge can go into the following January of next year. But I do want to.
It's going to be done by April. I'll be done by April.
15 Blu-rays from John. I feel like it's a pretty lazy and achievable challenge compared to this one that you're
lazy and achievable. That's me in a nutshell. So
I'm also going to be a bit ambiguous, and it's just going to be something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And I think this challenge, I don't want to pick something and like regret it 2 months in and be like, why did I pick this? Like this is just homework and torture at this point. So I'm not going to do that to myself. And this is kind of an honor of Mainstream Boy. But I am going to complete, and this is kind of interchangeable, but I'm going to do my best to try to complete the IMDb Top 250. That was going to be always been a comparable list that I've always looked at, but I have 70 movies that I've never seen in this list. And throughout the whole year, if I don't have a movie I'll probably handpick a lot of these out of just for first-time watches. I mean, just to see, just to kind of knock it off. in that regard. But also, just if I'm looking for a movie to watch, don't have anything new, like new 2024 movies, I'll just try to narrow down my list to this and then pick from there. And I think I can knock out 70 in 11
It always
months.
changes, though.
If anybody can do that,
Right.
it's you. I mean, there's gonna be a few that might change this year. Like there might be a few that creep their way up there, but I think you can wait because who's to say that those are gonna stay there?
And with Letterboxd, it updates automatically and it keeps my progress. And so I'll constantly check it and just make sure I'm like watching the right stuff. But there's, I mean, stuff that have been in the top 200 at least that I've just kind of really haven't changed much in the years since. So I still haven't seen like a bunch of them, like Seven Samurai, Life is Beautiful. So there's a whole bunch in here that I haven't seen.
Wait for just till December for that one. Might as well.
Yeah,
you finish it off with Life is Beautiful, and you just want to blow your brains out because it's so bad and boring.
A lot of Bollywood movies in here. Okay.
What?
John,
what did you just say?
What?
Well, Life is Beautiful?
I just said it was old and black and white and probably not that great and overrated.
Life is Beautiful. That's from the 90s.
I think you're thinking of A Wonderful Life, but
I am
because you mentioned Christmas. And
I am thinking of
Life is Beautiful is a very different movie.
Okay.
You had me thrown for a loop for a second. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
He's gonna watch 15 Blu-rays.
Stupid idiot. I am guys. I can't be that ambitious. That's insane. I'm gonna watch these 70 movies. There's no way. There's no way. If I gave myself that, I would. I would
70 is a lot.
Tomorrow.
But I want to just see. I want to see how far I can go by the end of the year. I want to be able to at least be in the 90s. I think I'll be happy with that. But I'll give it my best shot.
I could probably buy 70 Fortnite skins. I don't know if I could watch 70 movies.
I just looked up my partial list of Best Picture winners that I have watched, and I'm probably missing a couple. I just added Everything Everywhere and Coda.
Nice.
I'm at 63. So I'm not that far away. 27 away.
I'm at 45. So yeah, I'm like 20 behind you.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of the weird ones like Wings from 1927.
Can there be
Out
a
of
cutoff?
Africa, which is bad.
Like, can there be a cutoff where you don't actually have to go back that far? You know what I mean?
John, I don't limit myself when it comes to movies.
Okay. I'd say if they came out more than 100 years ago, you could skip it.
The Oscars haven't been around that long.
I say if it's not it's not
1925.
streaming, you can't find streaming. You can't even rent. You have to like actually go and try to find like a DVD or like Blu-ray copy. I did that,
which
one
I will
time.
do. I will. Yeah. That will be an update, like an annual update, like as we do the podcast. Nate, you found any Best Picture winners? Yeah, I just picked up The Last Command. Like,
I'm gonna try to do like quarterly checkups. So like you'll get 4 checkups.
Okay, Doc.
Take note of our actual challenge. Hey, John, how many of your physical movies have you watched? Physical media movie? None.
I've actually sold a couple.
So yeah, I'm trying to get rid of my collection. In reality, like I can't look at it anymore.
It's just going to be whatever you pick for the podcast. So
probably that's probably the case. Yeah.
Anyways,
it's these two movies I just happen to own.
We can move on from Ducky asks a question or more. So Ducky challenges the dudes. But question, okay, cool. Yeah, we got solid challenges going into 2024.
So I think the next thing that we're going to speak on is going to be, in the same realm of Nate's challenge here that he's giving himself. But let's talk about the Big Five. And if you don't know what the Big Five are, it's the 5 biggest Oscar categories, that being Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, and Best
Screenplay.
Screenplay? Is that right? No,
picture, director, actor, actress. Yeah, screenplay.
Is it screenplay? That's part of the 5?
I think so. Because Silence of the Lambs won it, and I think Jonathan Demme wrote the script or something.
It's not picture, actor, actress, supporting. Is that not it?
No, not usually.
So it is screenplay. I was waiting for Spencer to clarify.
Oh yeah, sorry, screenplay.
Oh, you never nodded your head. I was like, is that fucking right? I don't know if it's that right.
Oh, sorry to leave you hanging.
Jesus, I'm like, he's just staring into blank space, and I don't know if I'm stupid or not. Thank you, Nate. I should have just gone with what you said. So yeah. Anyways, that's what those are. I think there's only 1 or 2 movies that have ever done that. and Everything Everywhere came very close last year. I think it won 4 of the 5.
Everything Everywhere won 7 Oscars last year. Yeah, it
but
didn't
it
have a
won 4
lead
of the
actor
5 big 5.
nomination.
Yeah,
It never had one. It was all like supporting. But yeah, Silence of the Lambs was definitely one of them. There hasn't really been another huge contender to be nominated in all 5 in a while, but we'll see when that
Silence of the Lambs.
From like way back that won all 5 back before like anybody.
There's been others.
I think it happened one night.
Which ones,
maybe.
But...
What was it, Nate? Or you said it?
I think It Happened One Night might have won.
I think you're right. We've talked about it before. I'm pretty sure that's it.
But I think, the last one was definitely Silence of the Lambs.
Okay. All right. So let's start out with actor in a leading role here. We got Bradley Cooper for Maestro. We got Coleman Domingo for Rustin, which I still don't even know what that is.
You gotta watch it. It's good.
Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction, which I did end up finally seeing.
So our best of 2023 podcast came out last week, and we filmed and recorded that before the Oscar nominations came out.
Correct.
And I was kind of surprised by how many we got right for predictions. But I think Coleman Domingo sneaking in for Rustin was kind of a big surprise here. And John, like you said, you haven't even heard of this movie. Nate and I have seen it.
I don't even know who that guy is. Yeah, and I know
he's
a lot
the
of
guy
actors.
from Euphoria.
Oh,
he's the AA guy for.
Oh, he's in like the
also
Christmas
been in a bunch of
specials
TV
with,
shows and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a character actor for so many years, so many projects. But this is the first time he's ever been a lead in a movie, and bam, nominated. So basically we're just gonna predict the big 5 here. What do we think is going to win? Because the Oscars, I think, we're still like 6 weeks out. I think it's like end of March.
Yeah, middle of March. Yeah, something like that. It's in March.
I think it is. I think it's
like the first or second week of March.
March 10th. Okay, so we're a month out. So if we can predict these correctly, and we can go back and listen and be like, "Oh, wow,
say we did,
nailed it."
Do we want a consensus ranking, or do you want to take note right now of what we're saying? Because I feel like we might not all pick the same thing, or more than likely we will not. So I'll write it down on this piece of paper.
We have it recorded, so I mean, if you want to write it down, we can always refer it back to this episode. So best actor in a leading role. You've already listed them off. Nate, who do you think is going to win?
I just based on performances, I know it's kind of a baity one, but I think Bradley Cooper could possibly steal it from Paul Giamatti, just based on like makeup and the dedication that he took to becoming Leonard Bernstein. I could see him getting it. I think he's gonna win, but I'm in your guys' boat. I want Paul Giamatti to win.
But you're gonna pick Bradley Cooper to win.
Yeah, just because he put in like 6 or 7 years of training just to do this. And then on top of the makeup and the story that he was telling, I could see it. I could see him squeezing in.
Okay. John, who do you think is going to win best actor in a leading role?
It's tough because I feel like there's honestly 4 guys here who legitimately have a chance to take it. I know that I think Paul Giamatti won the Golden Globe. He won the BAFTA. Did he win the SAG? Or has that happened yet?
That hasn't happened yet.
Has not happened yet. I think if he wins that, I mean, we all know there's a lot of the same voters, but although the pool has changed over time, like it's gotten younger since then. So it's not as predictable, but it's tough, man. Every now and then there's a surprise, but I do think Paul Giamatti will have this one.
Ooh, Paul Giamatti. So you're going to go with Paul Giamatti on your Oscar ballot?
I just don't think they're going to give Cillian Murphy a best. He's great. I just don't think that I could see him holding an Oscar for best actor. I just can't see that happening.
Being excited about it.
I think
Paul he'd be Giamatti's like, thanks. See ya.
Hold his Oscar over his face. Because he's going to win. Paul Giamatti.
He's going to have it over one of his eyes. Be like, look at this one. It's this one.
I'm going to go Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, you knew Spencer was going Paul Giamatti.
I think it is really between Cillian Murphy and Paul Giamatti, based on just kind of who's winning so far and the couple award shows that have happened. But yeah, I think Paul Giamatti, he's due for one. He's incredible in everything that he's in. So
has he won? Has he ever won?
Never won. He's been nominated 3 times in total.
Okay. Yeah, he's great. I think he deserves it. I don't know if it's the most transformative performance by any means. It's definitely not, actually. But
The biggest surprise, I think, would be if Bradley Cooper does win. That would be a huge surprise, but I could see it happen.
I don't think that's a surprise. If Coleman Domingo wins,
yeah,
or
that's
Jeffrey
like
Wright
what
wins,
sure.
I would say
I
that's
kind of
a surprise.
unfortunately don't think they have much of a chance. Coleman Domingo and Jeffrey Wright, they're great, but I just think it's down to these three.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
they're all very good. They're all very. I mean, I don't know.
For some reason, I feel like the
Coleman
Academy
Domingo's
just likes the fact that Bradley Cooper just like whenever he doesn't win his like out of his 14 nominations, he just comes back even harder and harder, and they just like want to just like bait him and see what he'll do next if he doesn't get the Oscar. So
this is the one.
He's 90 years old, and the winner's Bradley Cooper.
Please.
Thank you.
What do I have to do?
Arguably, I think he arguably has a better performance than Giamatti. I really like. I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's the most Oscar baity performance out of all of them. But he did transform. Like there were times where he just was unrecognizable on screen.
He looks
That's
a
what
lot
I'm
like
saying.
him.
I see Paul Giamatti, like I do. It's just he's playing a character, but it is still Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti has the energy of last year when Jamie Lee Curtis was about to win, and everyone was like, "Wait, is she really going to win?" Like, yeah, I think it's going to win. I think it's going to happen. Jamie Lee Curtis, and then it actually happens. You're like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like that really happens.
That's such an insulting comparison. I don't know if it's that bad, but yes, I see
I'm just saying. I think Paul Giamatti has an energy of like, I think he's going to win. I think he's actually going to do it.
Yeah, I think he will too.
Anyways, okay, it's Paul Giamatti for John and I, and Bradley Cooper for Nate.
Give him the Oscar so he stops making Oscar bait and make a good movie.
I know, just be done with it. So for actress in a leading role, we have Annette Bening for Nyad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, which I did finally see, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. And we do have Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla. So
nope, that's in your own award. That's in the Mainstream Boy Award shows.
Will
never happen.
So confused.
Let's start with Nate again. What do you think is gonna? Who do you think is gonna win the Oscar?
I would put money on Emma Stone winning.
Okay.
Lily Gladstone was fantastic. But I would say best actor in a leading role should be the pronounced part of the story. She's big in it, but you follow DiCaprio and his superstardom for most of the movie and De Niro and whatnot. But Emma Stone she controls the entire pace. That the way the movie feels, the way you feel with the story, it's all through her. So I think it's hers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Lily Gladstone spent half the entire movie in a bed. So yes, she's really great in the scenes that she's in, but best actress, absolutely not. It's Emma Stone all the way. It's no question. Carey Mulligan is really good in Maestro, and Annette Bening. I haven't seen her performance. Sandra Huller is amazing in Anatomy of a Fall. But
Annette Bening's good, but it's just. It's more for Jodie Foster, I think. She was the best part of that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think Emma Stone is far and away she's got to be the favorite. She is beyond transformative. She plays a child. Like she clicks all the boxes in this movie to win an Oscar for the second time. So I think she'll take it, and she will get one step closer to Meryl Streep.
All right. So 2 votes for Emma Stone. My vote is Annette Bening for Nyad.
What?
You're a fucking liar. You better clean that mouth out, sir.
It's like and he's like insider trading on the Oscars. Like, what the fuck?
I'd be so pissed. It's like, I knew this.
Yeah. I think I'm right there with you guys. I think Emma Stone is gonna walk away with her second Oscar come March 10th. I mean, Carey Mulligan was phenomenal, and
she was
due
really
for
good
one.
too.
And
I think she's the 4th favorite here. She was great, but I don't think
I really do. Yeah, Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Huller, and Carey Mulligan. Annette Bening, that's my order. But Emma Stone, I think I think she's got it.
It's hers.
And not to take anything away from Lily Gladstone. I mean,
no, God, no.
She was incredible, and she was like the heart of that movie, and the heart and soul. But it's just. Like what Nate said with the direction of where the story goes in that second half, it just like you kind of just like forget that she's there until she just pops back up again. It's like, oh yeah, this incredible actress, she's back.
But she is powerful. She's very strong.
She's great
every time.
She's kind of like Jamie Lee Curtis in
why do you
Halloween
keep bringing up Jamie?
If she was in supporting, I think she would have probably the biggest shot to win, even against Divine Joy Randolph, who's going to win. We won't talk about it, but
it's not one of the big five. But yeah,
but if Lily Gladstone wasn't supporting, I think she probably could have won. But the push for lead, and it's just, I think Emma Stone she just did something absolutely batshit crazy on screen, and I think she'll get her second.
Yeah, it's a runaway. It really is. We can move on.
All right, so moving on to best screenplay. Where is it on?
You can go to directing if you want. I just saw it. Whatever you find first.
I love how it's just
it's in alphabetical order, so it will.
That's confusing.
Okay, that's annoying.
Take it away, Dougie.
Directing. Justine Triet for Anatomy of the Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos, and The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer. I think Christopher Nolan 100% is just gonna win his.
Agreed.
It's about his first directing Oscar. It's do I even have to switch camera angles?
No, you can make an atomic bomb with practical effects and have like no CGI in the movie. You can't. You respect it and the way he shot it. It's just. Yeah, if he doesn't, then I'm really questioning what the Oscars are doing.
Yeah, what do they have against him if they don't give it to him? At this rate, he's made so many incredible movies that it's a travesty that he hasn't won one already or even been nominated. I don't think he's been nominated.
He's been nominated. I think
for Best Director.
Yeah, I think for Dunkirk he got a Best Directing nomination.
Still, like of all movies, that was his worst. Like one of the worst. Whoa. But it's still really good. But
worst, but
I don't think it's not his worst. But
I don't think he had a shot of winning compared to some of the other movies that year. But
yeah, Inception, like what are we doing? Anyway, it's him. I just don't. I think this is his Oscar to lose. Oppenheimer is just it's one of the best director movies of the year. It's truly incredible feat in filmmaking. So just give it to him.
And it is pretty crazy that whenever Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg make a movie these days, they always get a directing slot and they always get a nomination, but it's somehow they just never have a shot at winning.
They're probably on the Academy, so they're just like, all right, well,
Killers of the Flower Moon is one of the best directed movies of last year, and like I just don't think it has a shot of winning. So it's crazy.
Honestly, I think it's Oppenheimer or Killers for me. I don't think the other three have a chance, but
I still have yet to see Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall, so I'm like, I can't comment on them.
Yeah,
Anatomy I have.
But like Yorgos' direction was fantastic, but you're more focused on Emma Stone. Like it's a weird aesthetic to some people, and
very weird.
So I think he has like 4 movies already shot and like ready to go in the pipeline, so he'll get there.
That's insane.
All right. So Christopher Nolan, Best Director for sure. It's gonna happen.
We're all in agreement on actress and director so far.
All right. Writing, adapted screenplay. We have American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Nate, what do you think is gonna win adapted?
Oh, adapted. Let's see here. I'm going to go with the one that I haven't seen. I'm just going to go with Zone of Interest because I don't see Barbie winning it. American Fiction was really good. Poor Things, as far as the story, it was good, but there were some moments that were kind of iffy. Oppenheimer, I'm going to Zone of Interest. I think just the historical aspect of it and the way that they're able to adapt something that horrific in such a
have you seen it?
Passive way. Just a family that's lives right next door to a concentration camp. Like that's something really deep and hard to write about, I would think. So I'll go with that just to be a little different.
All right, from the gut.
Just because it sounds interesting.
All right, John.
Yeah, screenplay is tough for me. It's hard for me to really pinpoint who I think would have the best chance of winning and who I personally think has the best one. I think for me, I think of all of these, I think American Fiction had the best screenplay. I just think this movie it's really well written, it's really funny, and it tells a very powerful story along the way. So for me, I thought that was the most enjoyable screenplay, and maybe second to that, Oppenheimer. I don't know. It's tough. That's a tough one for me. I'm gonna go American Fiction.
American Fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could vote, I would probably go with American Fiction or Poor Things. This might be controversial. We'll see what happens.
You're gonna go with Barbie.
A week
if
leading
you
up to
say
Oscar
Barbie.
week. But when the nominations happened, there was a huge backlash and uproar, of course, because Greta Gerwig didn't get a nomination and Margot Robbie didn't get a nomination for Barbie, and like
That's fair,
Ryan
yeah.
Gosling, Robert Downey Jr., American Ferrara, all these people like wrote like these long letters and posted on social media, like not really like how dare the Academy not nominate them, but they just basically like praise them and be like they deserve the nomination, and like just they wanted to recognize recognize for Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie. So for me, maybe we'll see what happens, but I feel like the Academy may be like, oh shit, we should have got her nominated. She's never won an Oscar. She's made all these incredible movies. She pulled off this box office achievement with Barbie. She isn't nominated on any other categories besides best song. So it's like, I think this would be the only shot to give Barbie an Oscar.
Yeah.
I would give it to American Fiction or Poor Things. I don't think Oppenheimer's going to get it. I think he's locked in for director. We'll see. Maybe he can get both, but
I think he can get both.
I just think the storyline, unfortunately, with storyline and Oscar wins, it's not like always, you don't love to hear it, but people love to see it. So it could happen with Barbie. So I'm going to go kind of controversial, and I'm going to say Barbie, despite my own opinion.
I think it would make for a feel-good whatever headline the next day, and then nobody cares a shit anymore. So
and it would finally be like Greta Gerwig getting awarded for making this movie, Barbie, didn't get nominated for a director, and just finally just like, okay, I can rest easy now, and all the fans can chill out. So
yeah, no,
it'd be like a kind of like a Jamie Lee Curtis, like here's your Oscar. Sorry for not giving you one earlier in your career or whatever, but we'll see.
I mean, I would probably take out. I mean, personally, I would take out Lily Gladstone and throw in Margot Robbie, and maybe kick out somebody in Best Supporting and throw Lily Gladstone in there instead. If I was making the nominations, that's what I would do. But that's not me.
Right. Mainstream Boy Award show will come out never.
The Mainstream Boy Oscars is on March 10th. It's at the very same time live on YouTube.
Original screenplay. Last one here. We have Anatomy
and Best Picture too.
Oh,
I gotta do.
My bad. We have Anatomy of a Fall.
This is technically going to be 6.
Yeah.
The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. Original screenplay. Nate, what do you got?
If I'm going with original screenplay, I'm going to go with the one that had the most feelings throughout. I've got to go with Holdovers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way they throw in the drama and the comedy and being able to relate to these characters and stuff and have it feel really organic and fit really well. I think this could win, but Spencer was kind of pointing at it. I would go Past Lives as a close second because that had a La La Land ending for me and it broke my heart.
I know when you said emotions, like my cursor immediately went down to Past Lives. So I was just like, okay, you went to Holdovers. Okay, so you'd vote for the Holdovers or not?
Yeah, because it had its moments of everything, but like how a story's told and how it ends, I thought it rounded off really well. So yeah.
All right. So you think the Holdovers is going to win, John? What do you think is going to win Best Original Screenplay?
There's a lot more movies in here that I can say that I like the script for. May December has a good script. Maestro is well written too. I really like the monologues from Bradley Cooper throughout the film.
And then maybe they'll give him an Oscar.
Maybe this is where he gets it, but
yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I could see that.
I think I'm in the Holdovers boat as well. I think it's the best script here, and I think it has the best chance to win.
Fuck, damn it. Yeah. Okay. The Holdovers. I would be over the moon if The Holdovers wins Best Original Screenplay. I think Anatomy of the Fall is going to win.
Why?
Okay.
It won the Golden Globe for Best Original Screenplay and kind of shocked a lot of people because people were like, "Oh, really? That won?" That's not usual, like a usual Golden Globes move, but the script is phenomenal. I mean, if you've seen the movie, the structure of the movie is it's really unique. It's really cool, and I mean, I don't want to give it away, but it's just a very clever movie. So I think this might get it. We'll see. But I would be over the moon, so happy if The Holdovers wins. I would instantly watch it on Peacock directly after the Oscars.
I will say there's a lot of some of the best movies with there's a lot of good courtroom movies. If it's a well-written movie and it takes place in a courtroom and it's riveting and there's a lot of talking, that means there's a good script. And that is one of those movies. We watched 12 Angry Men, fucking one of the best scripts ever. Like, that was unbelievable. And it all takes place in one room. So,
well, what I loved about the most about Anatomy of the Fall and why I think it could get the best screenplay is because the audience is essentially treated as the jury throughout the whole movie.
I gotta watch it.
You just don't know.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. It's just, like it's so clever in that regard. So like it's a movie like you watch with a group and like afterwards like you just have to discuss it just because it's like someone might get something different from it. So it's very unique.
You're definitely right about that. Yeah.
So I'm glad to see it get all these accolades. It's well worth it. But now we are in Best
Picture. And I'm glad they finally did 10 again, because whenever they do 9, I'm like, what are we doing? You can do 10, just do 10. Just come on, recognize the movies. Why not?
I wish they just went back and did 5. Really pissed off some people.
Hate that. Hate that. Just
because then you're just throwing Barbie in just for kicks. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's always down to like 3 anyways. The rest are all just like, oh, okay, glad I got in.
You never know. I mean, freaking Argo won Best Picture, so.
We have American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. I have a clear and definite winner in my opinion. I think it's Oppenheimer. I think that one is going to win Best Picture, but curious to hear what you guys think. Nate?
I'm on a similar boat. God, I don't know. Part of me wants to go with I don't know. I'll be different. I'll do 4 Things.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, as far as
thrilled. Emma Stone would get another Oscar.
Oh yeah, and it's just
wow, that would be insane.
With the story and the cinematography and the music and all the color distortion based on her age and everything, it felt very whole, like very complete. So I would go with Poor Things, but I can see Oppenheimer just taking it and running with it.
Okay.
Would we count that as matching Meryl Streep if she won for both, or no?
Not necessarily. I mean, Frances McDormand just did it with Nomadland. She got Best Actress and Best Picture.
Well, I mean, that's if you poop in a bucket, you win Best Actress. I mean, I get it.
So she's won 3 acting Oscars and then 1 Best Picture Oscar. So she's won 4 Oscars. Which Katharine Hepburn, is that the one that won 4 Oscars?
Yeah.
So she's tied with her, but
so she's won more than Meryl
acting
Streep.
Oscars. Katharine Hepburn. I don't think anyone's won 4 Oscars.
Okay. Well, if I'm looking at these right now, I think there is one obvious choice as well, and a lot of the time, and I don't think it's rung true every year. It hasn't happened nearly as often where whoever wins Best Director wins Best Picture. But I feel like that was a trend for a while.
It happens.
It happens. It's not necessarily a guarantee, and I feel like it's become less of a guarantee lately. But I think that Oppenheimer does have the best chance to win. So I'm gonna go with that. But Poor Things would have been my second choice. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Dark Horse, Holdovers, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be cool. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'd be happy with Poor Things. I'd be happy with Holdovers. Be happy with Oppenheimer.
If Barbie won, Margot Robbie gets her Oscar there too.
There you go. I don't know if they're gonna go that far to.
that would be crazy.
I'm never watch the Oscars again.
There's no way. That's like
I don't think
it's
like gonna
if they
happen.
gave Black Panther Best Picture. Like, I don't know, man.
They gave it the nomination. That's bad enough.
Exactly.
Let's go back to 5. Anyways, okay. That is our Oscar predictions, the big 5. We'll see what happens in a month. These are very early, but we're locked in.
I have them here.
We're locked in now to the big 5. So we'll see what happens.
Let us know what you guys think in somewhere in the comments of this video. If you are watching on YouTube, that'd be cool. Maybe you're right. Maybe we're wrong. Who knows? But with that being said, I think it's time to move on to some 2024 releases, specifically the Sundance Film Festival. This is something you can attend in person or you can watch them online. Not anymore, but you did have the opportunity to do so last week. So, Spencer, I know that you watched quite a few of these. I watched a few as well. But yeah, why don't you just pick some that you want to talk about? You know what I saw. So, yeah, we can go from there. Nate, did you have a chance to watch any of these or?
No, I didn't have access to them.
Gotcha. Well, you can do some. I don't want to say too much about these movies.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to review these movies because most people listening have not seen these movies. Nate has not seen these movies, so I'm kind of going into this more as just like tell you what the movie
check these out,
is, maybe. But kind of give it more of a pitch to Nate to be like if he buys or sells it. Like, it's like, oh, okay, that I'll check it out, or not really. Doesn't sound interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The first movie, let me take my rating off. There we go. The first movie that I watched that did very well at Sundance is called A Real Pain. It is directed by Jesse Eisenberg, and it stars Kieran Culkin from Succession fame. He's been winning all the Emmys and Golden Globes, kind of blown up. Not really in a lot of movies, but I'd say this. I mean, we'll see what happens when it gets released. But he could be a Best Supporting Actor nomination next year. He's really, really good in this film. But it's basically they're two cousins, and they travel to Poland to honor their late great grandmother, who was a Holocaust survivor, and they kind of go through a tour through different kind of like Holocaust museums and just like sites. And they kind of also reconnect. They haven't seen each other in a while. They're both very different personalities. Jesse Eisenberg is literally just Jesse Eisenberg, and Kieran Culkin's the kind of just like a eccentric kind of guy. But it's a comedy. It's very lighthearted. It kind of reminded me of like a Woody Allen film. But it got picked up by Searchlight Pictures for like $10 million. So it's going to go theatrical, I think, sometime maybe late summer, early fall. So you can check it out in theaters later this year. But Jesse Eisenberg, he's a really solid filmmaker at this point. He's made 2 movies. The first one was okay. This one, I think he's found his footing. So
I do have a question specifically, because as you know, Jesse Eisenberg is very Jesse Eisenberg in everything he acts in. How written is his character to fit his persona? Like his typical like
perfect. I mean, he's not like
crazy persona,
freaking out, like anxiety riddled kind of guy in this. He's much more subdued. He's kind of put together in this movie, but just what he was able to do as a filmmaker. I mean, I could definitely see like him working with Woody Allen for 3 movies had a lot of influence here with his style. A lot of beautiful cinematography of Poland. So it's 89 minutes too. It's a quick watch, so it kind of flew by. So nice. I was pretty pleasantly surprised by this movie. But,
okay, yeah, that's the one that I wasn't able to get my hands on because it sold out so fast. I would have tried to watch it otherwise, but
yeah. So be curious to see when this comes out, but it's one to keep your eye out for the rest of the year. A Real Pain. I don't know what other. It's too early to do Oscar stuff for next year, but I think Kieran Culkin he really was a strong presence on screen, and he was hilarious. He was heartbreaking. It was great. So
it will be more than a year until we have any idea if he actually gets nominated. But that's quite the call out ahead of time.
We'll see what happens. But yeah,
should we alternate? Maybe do 2. Should we just do 2 each? I feel like that's enough. Unless you want to do a few more, if you feel like shouting out.
Yeah, because
a few more movies.
We're gonna do Suncoast next episode, so you don't even have to talk about that one yet. Because it comes out on Hulu next week. So
Then
Nate
let's shout out Love
wait,
Me.
before we do that,
Nope.
Nate, A Real Pain. Is that something that sounds interesting for you?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yes,
You'll check
that's
it
a
out.
buy.
That's
a
a buy.
buy. Yeah.
Okay.
If you can take
Okay.
that subject material, I enjoy history stuff like that, and so if you're able to adapt it and make it funny in weird ways, then I'm on board.
Nice. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, John, do you want to do
A quick, this is a tough movie to even really speak on. But I think that it's, when it does come out, it's something that is going to captivate audiences in terms of whether they love it or they absolutely hate it. Because what hooked me is not only the actors in this movie. I think they're both fantastic and pretty much everything they do. But here's the quick synopsis for those listeners. Long after humanity's extinction, a buoy named Me and a satellite named I Am meet online and fall in love. It's weird. It's quirky. It's Wally meets Anomalisa meets Passengers. It's very
Is that
strange.
Kristen Stewart?
Yep.
Yes. It's Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart and Steven Yeun.
Oh, Glenn.
Glenn, yeah.
Glenn from The Walking Dead. It's out there. It's
the
out
best
there.
way I can preface this movie, because it's wildly unique and unlike kind of anything you've really seen before. I mean, obviously it has some comparisons to like a live action Wall-E and stuff like that, just from the premise alone. That kind of sounds like it. But the best way I can kind of preface this movie is it's called Love Me. It's all about love, essentially, after humanity's extinction. But the movie's just kind of adorable. Like it's just a sweet love story that is a love story of something you've never really seen before. Basically, an AI take of what they think love is. So it's got an interesting premise, and it's done in a style that's very, very unique. It uses different mediums of cinema to tell a story. So it's cool. It's different.
I mean, talking about like Oppenheimer, Barbie, two very existential movies. I think this one is up there as well. If this came out the same weekend, you'd be like, Barbenheimer me, Barbenlovenheimer me. It's the themes are very prevalent.
But I can kind of just see this movie like releasing on Netflix. Not really having a theatrical run. It still does not have distribution. No one's picked it up yet. It's an impossible
movie to market. It just is. Like, you see the poster right there. That is not the movie. I mean, that's all I can say. It is, and it's very much not. So, I don't even know how you make a trailer for this film. Truly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. But I think when it does come out, I really hope people see it. And yeah, I think it won some awards at Sundance.
It won like a sci-fi innovator award, so one of like the kind of random Sundance awards, but it did win something.
Yes.
And it's directed by a married couple making their directorial debuts together. And I mean, the movie's kind of more of a feeling than it is a story in a way, but just it's done in a very like kind of Charlie Kaufman type of style, which is it's interesting. I don't know, it's different.
Very different. But yeah.
But Nate, what do you buy or sell? Love Me.
Okay. Strange request. I'm not gonna buy, but I might rent it. If that's possible.
I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Or if it comes on like Netflix or Hulu, maybe you'll stream.
Then I won't even have to rent it, and we're perfect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you had to pick, if you had to take a bet on a platform that would pick this up, what do you think would pick it up?
Paramount
Talking
Plus.
to me?
I guess, and yeah, any of you guys, I'll make a bet as well. If you had to pick a platform that picks this movie up, what do you think is the best fit?
Seeing Paramount the movie, I would say Netflix, because I mean, love is a very human emotion, and Netflix has a very global appeal. So I feel like it could go out to so many different users through Netflix, but maybe like a Disney Plus, National Geographic fucking thing. Who knows? Like,
no,
I don't know.
It's hard to say. I think the one that I feel like should have picked it up would have done it already and they didn't. That's Apple TV Plus.
I could easily
feel like
see. Yeah.
That's they should have, and
Yep.
maybe if I think I'm still gonna put my money on them. I think it's either them or Amazon Prime, but because they pick up some weird. Amazon will fucking pick up anything, so they have so much money it doesn't even matter.
So we'll see what happens, but it's one to keep your eye out for. It's very different, very unique. One movie that I just kind of want to mention real quick because I think it would be up Nate's alley.
Okay.
It's called Handling the Undead, and it kind of reunites the actors from The Worst Person in the World.
I knew I recognized her.
Yeah, she's in it, and then the guy, I forget his name. Yeah, this guy, her love interest.
Oh, okay. Yep.
He's in the film as well. But basically, the film is about just one day in Oslo. Just the dead start waking up. You don't know why. Like, does it mean something? Is it a religious thing? Is it just because they're zombies and they're waking up and want to eat people? Who knows? But it's just basically about like 4 different stories. It's not really an anthology, but I mean, they kind of connect, not really. But it's just kind of about 4 people kind of dealing, or maybe 3 stories kind of just dealing with the dead coming back to life and waking up and just like, what do we do with this? It is probably the most dreadful movie I've seen in quite a while. Like there is no,
wow.
It's probably the most bleakest movie I've seen. Like When Evil Lurks was really fucking bleak, but like that one, like at least there was some fun elements to it. Like it kind of had fun with the premise and went to some crazy places that like as an audience member you're like, oh my god, wow. This one you just sit in the fucking dread and
on a scale of like
can't go away from it.
On a scale of like Rio to Hereditary, where do you put this one?
Rio to Hereditary,
like Bears, like Disney Nature's Bears to Hereditary. Like, where do you put this?
I kind of have no idea what to fucking say to that question, but all I'll say is it's not a horror movie. It's very much a drama with a horror premise, but it's still worth a watch. It's picked up by Neon. It's going to come out in theaters, I think, later this month or early next month, so it'll pop up someday on streaming, which I'd say maybe you can just wait until like it pops up on Shudder or Criterion, or not Criterion, Amazon Prime or something. But it's very just depressing, very dreadful, very just wow. Just there's no hope in this movie, but it's I don't know. You could maybe get something out of it. I think Nate would enjoy it, but
nothing's better than just sitting in a steaming, boiling pot of other people's dread and sorrow. Because I deal with mine all the time. I would like an hour and a half of just
kind of push it onto somebody
other people's crap.
Yeah, no, I feel you there.
And
anytime anything comes to life, it's like, yeah, obviously.
The last individual movie I just want to talk about real quick, because I watched like 7 or 8 of these, is a movie called Thelma. It finally got picked up by, I think, Magnolia Pictures, so it's going to be a wide release in theaters sometime this year. But it's basically about this 90-year-old woman who sets out on a revenge quest to find the phone scammers because she fell for a phone scam. And it's kind of treated like as this over-the-top action movie, but she's just doing very mundane things like stealing a scooter and like from her friend next door. So, I mean, it's very silly, very kind of lighthearted, very goofy. But it's done in a style that's like kind of mimicking Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible. And
oh my god, that's
June
so
Squibb
funny.
Is just so great in this movie.
She was in Nebraska, right?
She was in Nebraska. She's never been a lead in any movie that she's been in for her entire career. This is her first lead. What? And she did all of her own stunts in the movie. I mean, she is a riot in this film. And her grandson was great too. I think he's in like White Lotus and he's been in some other stuff. He's kind of blowing up recently in some projects, but he is just a very lovable character playing her grandson. So just a very lighthearted, very funny movie that is going to be in theaters probably this summer. So I highly, highly recommend putting this on your radar. It's very cute, very fun. It's kind of like a warm hug. So yeah.
Ooh, I mean, like this, is it this year's The Holdovers? Warm hug movie?
I mean, it's not as like deep or like it's not going to get any Oscars. I don't think. I mean, maybe June Squibb could sneak in if it's kind of a quiet year, but it's just a very cute, fun movie. that is worth it whenever it comes out. So
that one, I mean, of all the movies you pitched, that one seems like the most enticing. Just enjoyability factor.
Yeah.
I'll sit down and watch that with my mom. Like
Exactly.
that sounds really great. So yeah, some good options. Sundance coming through this year, and there's plenty of other ones too that are worth checking out that we haven't even talked about today. So,
well, one that you did watch.
Oh, you do want to mention it?
Well, I don't even know your thoughts on this. What did you think of Rob Peace?
God, man, pretty insane story. True story. About this really, really smart individual that kind of makes his way into college to be a biochemistry major. I forget what the school was. Is it
Yale? It's Yale.
It was Yale. Yeah, Yale. I think just an unbelievable performance from this guy Jay Will, and
directed by Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah, Chiwetel, man.
His
He
second film.
He comes through. He's in this movie as well. He plays his dad.
His uncle.
His uncle?
Isn't it his uncle?
I think it's his dad, dude.
Uncle. Maybe it's
no.
His dad.
Either way, just a really powerful story that I just came out of nowhere because I didn't know anything about it. Threw it on. It's just kind of with every Sundance movie, just throw it on and hope for the best. I really, really found myself liking this story.
Okay, so you really dug it. This one still doesn't have distribution. It's not really coming. No one knows when it's going to come out. I liked it. It's a little formulaic, but the story is really what held it together. I thought.
I think I'm not don't want to give a formal review, but I think eventually someone will pick it up and it'll sneak in there. People will see it and it'll probably be forgotten. But I did think it was good. So yeah,
Rob Peace. Nate,
Rob
does that sound
Peace,
interesting to you?
You honestly, I didn't get sold about any of it.
Yeah.
Like I don't. I just know it's called Rob Peace and he goes to Yale. That's all I got of it. And
it's so hard. Like how do you talk about a movie, not give any review and not give anything away?
What does it say on Letterboxd?
I mean, basically what he said, just a kid that went from basically the hood, grew up and was really smart, went to Yale, and just
had to pay his way
stayed
college
in the drug game.
I mean, I don't want to give too much away. Like, prison's involved in some aspect. I mean, there's a lot going on, a lot fighting against his ability to pursue his academic dreams, I suppose.
It is. I would say it's well made. Just you've seen it before, but the performance is really solid. Like all around, performances are great.
Yeah,
but
everybody. And what's her name is in this? From Fifth Harmony.
Oh, Camila Cabello.
Camila Cabello is in this and plays his girlfriend, and she wasn't bad.
No, I didn't know it was her until the credits. I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, what? Havana Una? No, that one.
No.
She's in this.
All right, so that's Sundance. I mean, we've seen a handful more as well. One movie that John watched, we're all going to be talking about on the next podcast as a new release, so stay tuned for that. It's called Suncoast. It comes out on Hulu on February 9th.
So glad I paid $25 for a ticket when I could have just watched it on my free Hulu account 2 weeks later.
Spoiler alert, at least you loved it. Anyways, okay, moving on to something else. What do we want to do? Oh, do you...
Yeah, we can do it. Let's just do it. So the next movie we're going to talk about here, I know I'm the only one that saw it, but Matthew Vaughn, man, he's really, really powerful, strong director. I mean, he did Kick-Ass 2. He did Kingsman: The Secret Service, The King's Man. He did The Golden Circle. We can forget about that one. Here he is with Argyle, starring none other than Bryce Dallas Howard. Oh, I was just cleaning it. So it's just not. It's a movie that I've seen the trailer for, and I'm not even exaggerating. I've seen the trailer 25 times. It played every single time I went to the theater, and every single time it looked so god awful bad. I had nothing better to do on Sunday because it was either go see this movie, it was raining, so I couldn't go play disc golf, or watch the Pro Bowl. So I decided I'll go see Argyle. I'll go suffer through it. And I was one of 6 people in the theater that didn't smile a single time. So I don't think it's worth checking out. Bryce Dallas Howard should not lead a movie. She just doesn't have the ability to do that, and she never has. I felt like it was just so melodramatic. I think Matthew Vaughn let the studio get in there too much, or he just tried to get a little overly ambitious with the story. Too many twists and turns. You do have those like how he's very much known for like his one take action scenes. And there are some of these in the movie, but you have to get through an hour and a half to even get to those scenes. And they don't have the payoff and satisfaction that a lot of the ones did in like the Kingsman: Secret Service with Colin Firth and God, what's his name? Taron Egerton. It's just not even remotely close to the same feel that he's able to create with those movies. So this one, it seems like a film that should have just maybe been thrown on Netflix and forgotten about. There's no reason for this to have a theatrical release. And the only reason it has it is because it's a Matthew Vaughn movie. So it's just not, I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. Convoluted bullshit, essentially.
I'll buy it.
Was Argyle.
Convoluted
I'll buy
nonsense
it.
bullshit.
Sold.
Yeah. Buy or sell, hard sell.
Yeah, no, the movie looked unwatchable.
For
just
instance,
like, even as like an Apple TV Plus movie that just pops up on your app one day and on your homepage to your TV, be like, "Hey, new movie to stream." It's like, no, I have to look at that poster. Henry Cavill's haircut. I'm good.
Spencer, remember literally randomly, like casually talking about, like, "Oh, I went to see it." He's like, "Oh, it's funny. Like I thought maybe this was the plot," and he said it, and I was like, "Dude, yeah, that's it. You got it, spot on." And this happens a lot, but this movie has a lot of twists. He got it right away. It's like, it's bad. 2 out of 5. Bad. Don't check it out.
That's still almost fresh.
It's not. It's really not. That's like a 4 out of 10. Like it's not there. It's not there. Depends on how you look at that 1 to 5 scale, I think.
Well, you liked some elements to it then. So
yeah, it's okay. Like it's just, it should have been so much better.
You could have watched the Pro Bowl.
I still did a little bit.
Oh,
it was
well.
probably arguably worse. The Pro Bowl was actually worse, if that tells you anything about this movie or how bad the Pro Bowl is.
Well, yeah, okay. So that was new releases, essentially just Sundance movies and Argyle. So
it's more than most people get in February.
Yeah, you know.
So
we're ahead of the game a little bit with some new release films. But this is typically when we would get into first time watches, but we don't have a first time watch.
Or mainstream trivia.
Or mainstream board trivia. I mean, we can still play the theme song. I mean,
first time watches, are you watching with us? We're those movie dudes, and we about to discuss another movie that we've never seen. So grab some popcorn and pull up a seat.
But we didn't do it, so you got to listen to the jingle.
Like,
you got to listen to the jingle. But do you guys have any first time watches that you watched?
Well, that's the thing.
That aren't new release. That are. Like,
I was looking at. Sorry. I was looking at Nate's profile, and I was like, "Oh my god, he is on a roll watching all these first time watches." And so I was kind of blown away. I mean, he did His Girl Friday. He did Old Boy. With Nail and I, Stranger Than Paradise, Man Bites Dog, whatever the fuck these are, American Fiction, The Naked Island, Tie Me Up and Tie Me Down, whatever. What I don't know what these are. So
please do that to me.
Since Nate had to listen to us kind of go on about Sundance movies with very little plot synopsis and reviews, this is his time to shine. What movie do you want to talk about out of these first time watches these last couple of weeks?
Huh.
I have a couple that I want to know your opinion on more than just your rating, but
that last one.
So like you see all the silent movie ones kind of down towards the beginning of January. I won't get into those as much because those ones are kind of blah.
1927.
They're good. Like I enjoy them because I like silent films, but and they have Lon Chaney in them and stuff, and he's just a fantastic actor. But one of them that stood out as very bizarre and almost made me sick to my stomach. Nope, scroll down a little bit. Scroll down. Oh, you're almost there. Oh, right there. There we go. That guy. Yeah.
You finally watched Old Boy.
Park Chan-wook. What the fuck? And why did I care so much? And I did. And I even looked up online afterwards. is a real octopus eaten. And I was
on screen.
Yeah, I was sadly proven that it was true. But Oldboy was just such a weird fever dream where you think everything that happens is so like serendipitous and it's supposed to happen, and then the plot gets revealed and you're like, oh, that's what I've been watching.
You
this whole
didn't
time.
know the twist.
I haven't seen this one.
Nope.
Okay, well,
I've
you
seen the
watched the
remake,
Spike
so-
Lee ones. It's the same twist. We don't have to talk
Okay.
about it if you haven't seen Oldboy, if you're listening. But I was curious if you had known the twist going into this, because I know this is the first time watch for you. Okay, because
Wow.
yeah, that's a mic drop of a twist.
And then the existential dread of like, what do I do with this information? Do I change or do I not?
Yeah.
And just the fact that, and what it was over was kind of silly because it had to do with the past a lot, but everything in between, like the meat that you want, was there, and it was terrifying. And just like when he's sitting in his room, it's just about a guy who's been in prison for 15 years, doesn't know why, and then goes on a rampage.
So,
and
what'd you think of the famous hallway fight scene?
Awesome. But like the thing is like you can kind of see in those shots pulling the punches, which of course you have to do. It's a movie. You're not really duking it with somebody. So I could kind of see some of the pulling of it, but it was the choreography that was impressive. Just everyone getting knocked down on top of each other, then having to get back up, him getting the shit kicked out of him, and then getting back up. And the way it just kind of, it ends in the elevator. He's just like, you look down this aisle of just bodies. And he's just sitting there, just stone look on his face, just going about his day. But it was just a very bizarre movie with one of the most the twist reminds me of a Serbian film.
Oh God.
I mean,
oh my.
Like,
you're not wrong though. I mean, it's
but like,
yeah, it's
this
not
is
that
better.
bad, but
Like, this is better, but not really, but very much so.
But no, this movie just had a full-on 4K restoration process. Got re-released in theaters last fall, and it just got released on 4K, and Netflix got the rights to stream it in 4K. So it's been hard to find. It wasn't even available to rent on streaming. Couldn't find it for like the last couple of years. So finally you can now watch it on Netflix. So if you've never seen Oldboy, like Nate, go ahead and check it out on Netflix.
or me. I never
Maybe
seen it
check
either.
that too.
You might possibly be thoroughly disgusted, but also intrigued because you're learning as he's learning, and so you kind of feel like you're in his shoes.
I don't want to feel that way.
And
But-
you gotta give it a shot.
Yeah.
and seeing that you finally watched this one was kind of it's been kind of long in the running for a podcast pick. We have His Girl Friday. You finally sat down and watched His Girl Friday, which is going to be the most famous, like, fast talking, like old school type of movies of all time.
Like a fast talking noir where you've got Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell, and they're just talking about newspaper and somebody's killing and all this stuff. It's just funny. Something about those movies from back in the day. Like, that's why I liked It Happened One Night so much, and like Frank Capra movies, because there's just a charm and the comedy to it. And the comedy in this is just constant.
I've heard it's really funny.
happening. Yeah. And it's basically Cary Grant's ex-wife, Rosalind Russell, who's the other star. She's getting remarried and he's trying to stop it. And they work for like a newspaper conglomerate, and like there's a crime going on and he needs her and all this stuff starts happening, but he's kind of a weasel. Always throwing a wrench in everything, but it's just so funny.
That's
and good. But the quality one that I found on Prime, I think, wasn't the best quality. Like, it was pretty beat up, but it got the
why
point
you need
across.
the Criterion, dude.
Ooh,
Why you gotta
Oh
have
my
the
God,
Criterion.
what?
So speaking of John's challenge of watching his own physical media, I've owned this for 2-3 years now. I've never watched it. His Girl Friday.
And you
So,
spent probably
it's
at
worth
least,
it.
I've been waiting for
$20 on it, minimum.
100% $20. Got it during one of the sales.
2106.
It's the only time I buy Criterions is when they do the sale. So
6%.
His Girl Friday, I have it on the shelf. Been waiting to watch it. Was gonna wait for maybe first time watching the podcast, but since Nate's already watched it, I will just put this in on the Blu-ray player at some point soon. Hopefully, it comes with a different movie too, or a different one. It comes with a movie called The Front Page from 1931.
Comes with 2 movies.
Ooh,
Comes with 2 movies. Yeah,
Deal.
cool.
it's even got its own
movies.
dedicated disc. The Front Page.
Oh, wow. That's you don't see that very often.
Kind of interesting.
But yeah, those were probably 2 of the
it's
best
good.
movies I watched out of my first times. Was
Yeah.
those guys? All the other ones, like there's
I've
some
seen
good
with,
ones.
with Nail and I.
That's a good one. Richard
It was
Grant
funny.
is
It was funny.
freaking weird. Man Bites Dog. Like I know it's only a 3.5, but it goes places. It's just all these movies are weird in their own way.
But I'm glad that you watched a lot of first time watches this last couple of weeks. You kept busy. But we now have to figure out what we're going to be watching for the next episode, the next first time watch. I have asked John to find 2 movies from his Blu-ray collection.
When?
I know. Just waiting to see when it was going to go.
When was this involved?
This was watching live
God damn it.
when you were going to realize.
Is it my turn?
No. So
No.
I just decided to go with
Like, what text did I miss now?
two movies that none of us have seen before. We're gonna reset it. We're just gonna pick a movie that we all have never seen before.
Wait.
Now, is this 100% positive? We've all never seen it.
I'm pretty fucking sure, unless one of you guys
What if
did
I've
the
seen
curveball, and that's the curveball right
You
there.
never know.
Yeah, if
Use
you've
one day
seen
watch
it, then
this.
like I need to watch it.
I have a backup if you've seen the one that I think you've seen, but
Okay.
anyways, okay,
So you have a third movie backup if one of them has been seen by one of us.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Maybe.
Kind of. Yeah, I know that you guys have all never seen that, and I've never seen it. So I'm gonna pull it up right here because we're gonna have to vote, or you guys are gonna have to vote. So hopefully you guys pull up the chat, make sure that's all locked and loaded. Figure out which one you guys want to go with. All right. So the first movie is actually a movie that Nate already referenced in tonight's episode. That's right.
It's not a Serbian
Oh.
film, is it?
It's not a Serbian film.
I mean, yeah, sadly,
'Cause
I have seen that. one,
Fortunately, we all
so-
sat in our college dorm and watched it as a group of like 10 people.
I wasn't there.
It was a team building experience.
Anyways,
I was
All
not
of us
there.
together.
I
the
think that
first
was
movie
just before I met you guys.
Our
is
poor
a
friend
movie
Cameron
that I
probably was.
personally have wanted to watch for a very long time. I've always heard really good things. And what's kind of pushed me over the limit here to finally pick it is my coworker has just been clamoring, being like, "You haven't seen it? Why haven't you seen it? You got to see it." So I want to shut him up. So I'm gonna
fucking
I'll
talking.
see what happens. if
Shut
this-
up, Lucas.
this wins.
God damn it.
But The Sting
Oh,
Yes.
is the
Okay.
Best Picture winner from 1973, directed by George Roy Hill, who obviously has done Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and it has Paul Newman and Robert Redford, both of them reuniting again. So we have The Sting as one
That
of
would
the
round off my 70s Best Picture winners. Is
Round
the
off
Sting.
70s picture winners. And then the other movie that is going to go against The Sting that I think we've all never seen, let's hope, is Cool Hand Luke.
I've never seen
do
it.
an
Another
Going on a little
Paul
Newman
adventure.
we never did an episode on Cool Hand Luke. No.
We did The Great Escape.
And I have it on 4K, and I've never seen it.
Ooh. I like
Okay.
those slip covers with the
100th anniversary.
of Warner Brothers. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Cool Hand Luke is not streaming anywhere, but I have a digital code, so I can give
It's
you
not on
guys the
Netflix
digital
anymore?
code. No, I looked recently and said not streaming on any platform, but
Really?
yeah, it says
I
it right
see
here,
that
not streaming
everywhere
on
for
your
whatever reason.
services. Yeah, it just randomly happens, but I
Huh.
have a digital code, so you guys can have the digital code and share it, watch it if this
Okay.
if this is the winner. The Sting is on Netflix, so you can watch it on Netflix.
Let's not make streaming platforms part of the reason why we choose a particular film.
No, just telling you where you can find it, and people listen at home if they want to watch it. But Cool Hand Luke or The Sting? Cool Hand Luke, The Sting. The Sting and Cool Hand Luke. Cool Hand Luke and The Sting.
Is it Warm Hand Luke?
Cool Hand Sting Luke.
Luke Hand Cool.
The Hand.
And
the
Sting
Luke.
the
Hand
cool.
Luke cool.
Cool Sting.
Luke Hand cool. I'm starting to have a stroke.
I don't know anymore. I think I just had a brain aneurysm. Okay, Cool Hand Luke or The Sting. The Sting Luke's Cool Hand.
Brandon?
No.
None of those, please.
All right. I told Nate earlier that this one was going to be a doozy, so I hope it is coming true.
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy. Let's go. We have Cool Hand Luke and The Sting.
All right, in the chat.
These are
ready?
two very, very famous movies.
I will be the tiebreaker if you guys pick the same or if you pick different ones.
All right, here we go. I got mine ready to go.
Okay.
Same.
John, how about you send yours in first?
Why? What?
I don't know.
Why? Can we not?
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Aubrey Plaza.
The Sting and Cool Hand Luke. Oh my God. Damn it. I knew it. I was going to have
I had
to
a
be the
meme.
tiebreaker.
That's why when you said, I was like, no, I have a meme set up. I wrote the to-do list. No,
All right,
Cool
well,
Hand Luke.
That's not how
recommend.
memes work, John.
I really want to bust open this 4K and watch Cool Hand Luke. 127 minutes. The Sting, Netflix streaming 129 minutes. It's a little bit longer. So
God
I
damn,
think
those
I'm
credits
going to
were a
have to
little
go
bit
with The
longer.
Sting. So we're going
What?
to go with The
That is
Sting.
not what I expected. I really
No, I
got to open
gotcha.
this 4K. I
I gotcha
bought.
off guard.
Man, I'm gonna go with the Netflix.
He's secretly
movie.
helping me complete my goal, and I appreciate that.
That is one aspect to it, but I'd say like that's maybe like 20%. The other 80% is to literally get Lucas off my back. It's just to say like, I've watched it. We have an episode on it. We'll
Go
see if I
listen
like it.
to
And
it.
plus, I think that is the only movie of that decade from Best Picture winners that I haven't seen. So that would complete that decade. The 70s.
What decade is this? The 80s?
70s.
70s.
Oh Lord.
1973.
Oh God. It's almost 50 years ago. Oh my God.
All right. Well, you can save us with Mainstream Boy True. Wait.
I will after we suffer through that episode, but
it's not time. It's not time. So I can't play it. It's not time.
I can't read text messages. Spencer sent me a text message this morning and he's like, "Hey man, so like just be ready. You got Mainstream Boy trivia and we're good to go at 7, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. See you at 7." Didn't do any
8 o'clock
trivia and I wasn't ready till 7:30. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, we roll with the punches here on the Those Movie Dudes podcast. And yeah. Here we go. Here's my one trivia question.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me think of one real quick.
The to-do list.
Name the movie based on the cast. John Cena, Sam Rockwell,
Barbie.
and Henry Cavill. Go.
If you had said John Cena and Dua Lipa, it would have been both Barbie and Argyle.
What? That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. I hate that so much that either of those two people are in either of those two movies. But that's okay. The answer is
I was giving that to myself for having that trivia fact.
good for you.
Please don't take that away from me. That was one of the greatest moments of my life. When you hit that thing going
last
off,
episode,
I was like,
bro, that was crazy.
That
The
was
comeback.
insane.
The comeback. If you guys haven't seen last episode, it's worth watching just for the trivia.
Because I knew the last 3 answers, but or not the last one, but the last couple, I just wasn't fast enough hitting my fucking buzzer. They beat me to it. But I knew those 2 answers too. I got the poster question wrong. I
It's
thought
not
it was
just about knowing the answer. It's
how many
about the
people are
speed
on
in
the
which you
poster, yeah.
respond in the chat. So
you know.
yeah, all right, yeah. I think that's gonna do it, everybody. Oh, okay, yeah. You can check us out.
Throw it in the
at
oven.
Those Movie Dudes on Instagram, Facebook.
Throw it in the oven.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Check us out on YouTube. Those Movie Dudes podcast, all one word. Subscribe. hit that notification bell. All of them. And we'll see you next time.